Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mark Bruce with Fit Strength Performance, and today I'm going to talk about how to develop that athletic strength. Now, this is something that I hear all the time when a parent, an athlete comes into my gym. One of the first things that they say, either that athlete needs to accomplish or the parent says what's the missing link, is they need to get stronger. So my question is always, what does strength mean? And this is where we're going to dive into this idea of what is athletic strength. Because you got to wonder, bodybuilders could be looked at as strong, power lifters could be looked at as strong, and then certain specific positional players could be looked at as strong. But is that the strength that you need? If you are a point guard in basketball, do you need the same strength as the center? Do you need to be the same strength level compared to a basketball player, volleyball player, baseball player? Do they all need that same type of strength, the same exercise, the same modalities, reps and set schemes? So here we're going to talk about this idea of athletic strength. So the first thing I want to highlight is movement efficiency. What we do at Fit Strength, what is appropriate for athletes, is you are taking an athlete and you are making them a better athlete and then helping them be better at their sport. Baseball players are rotational athletes. They are athletes that are rotating. Basketball players are athletes that are jumping. They aren't jumping athletes. So again, we got to remember, these young kids, even adults, you are athletes first. So we need to make sure that you check off the boxes to be an athlete. That means you need to hinge, you need to squat, you need to push and pull, you need to have balance, you need to have intramuscular and intermuscular coordination. You need to have all of these pieces that are going to help you become a better athlete, and then we can fit you into that puzzle piece to make you better at your sport. And then here's the truth: if you become a better athlete, regardless of that sport-specific modality of training or exercise selection, you'll be better at your sport. So now we talk about strength. What kind of strength do you need? Well, when we look at certain strength metrics, from exercises, from calisthenics, from what you should be able to do, there is a level of strength that athletes need, but it's relative to their mass, their body weight. Now, this is that tough conversation for the middle school athlete where every year they gain 10 to 20 pounds, and this is where we need to help them improve their coordination first and help them develop the ability to just move in space appropriately. But then once we see that plateau, once we see their body kind of form, and there isn't this aggressive growth spurt, well, we do want to help them get strong relative to their body weight. So if you're an athlete that weighs 150 pounds and you're that sophomore or junior, well, yeah, we do want you to get bigger, gain weight because it could help. But again, we also want to see a metric of you being able to deadlift, 1.9 times your body weight or 2 times your body weight. That's typically for men or for boys and males. You want to be able to deadlift up to 300 pounds. And then we know we've hit this level, this relative area of strength where you could be successful based on what's applied to your sport. And then we can start tackling these specific movements, these specific energy systems associated to your sport. So that goes from the deadlift, the bench press, the squat, single leg movements. I like single leg movements to be done at a relative body weight. So for an athlete that could weigh, 150 pounds, I'd like to see you be able to do a rear foot elevated split squat, a safety bar split squat with your body weight, because that's going to tell me you can handle the amount of force you put into the ground and have stability and have control. And then once we get to that point, now we can start to identify joint-specific angles. So once we reach that point where you're able to deadlift or do a split squat or do a hinge that's relative to your body weight, now we want to start to isolate these joint-specific angles tailored to your sport. So if you look at a basketball player jump, right, they don't get a ton of knee flexion, a ton of knee bend. So now we can start to do some joint-specific trap bar deadlifts, split squats from pins, isometric holds at different joint angles with load, because that's going to help them develop the tendon stiffness, the joint mobility, the joint range of motion, and range of motion control. So when we talk about this athletic strength, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at this relative ability of athletes to handle their weight that's going to be applied to their sport when they're sprinting, cutting, stopping, jumping, landing. And so we target that 1.9 times their body weight for a deadlift, that 1.4 to 1.7 of a squat, that 1.0 to 1.4 of that bench press. And that lets us know that they have relative strength according to what research and experience shows that athletes need. And then we're adding in that element of sprinting, of jumping, of changing direction based on their level. So once an athlete can, check off the boxes of these movements that they need to be successful at their sport, they can check off the box of relative strength. Then we can start to add in some more higher advanced plyometrics. We can start to add in those joint-specific movements. So that's what we're identifying when we talk about athletic strength. It isn't do what bodybuilders do because they're big. Bodybuilders are not sprinting on the court. They're not jumping and touching the rim. They're not doing things at this cyclic motion where their joints need to be able to handle cutting and stopping. Powerlifters are the same way. Centers in football aren't going to do what a point guard's going to do. So this is why we have this relative metric that matches to the athlete instead of this, this global identification that, all athletes need this one number, need to get stronger and deadlift 500 pounds. We need to associate it to their relative body weight because that's what they're going to have on the court and in the field. I hope that helps. If you have any comments, any questions, any likes, any thoughts, leave them below. If you're looking for training at Fit Train Performance, reply, DM, reply to this email, and we'll be sure to get a hold of you. Have a great day. Happy training.